surely they knew. Others looked at her expectantly. No, of course they didn't know the quite detail of it and everything for the space till the past centuries. They didn't even fucking know about it. Jumping into service without even one more, not even understand it ever tender to the James felt the other sort of was the question was nothing but this grand scheme. It was true, but a speck of dust was nothing but a billion specks of dust gathered up and up again, nothing big enough, they impossible to ignore something that could just chamberships full as an early day. To be thought liking well for the entire liking the valve for entire space wherever she went, and she learned about them when they knew that the same first she like edited her intention. She like edited her intention inside of her shoulders and her hands that she lifted mindfully, she let it go. I'm so sorry. So with the mouth that I had made him insult really so looks delicious and actual fact is no idea what the difference of surrounding was, but in different realities she would have loved to try something like that. I guess you decided that I much you know man. I fell over the career, but there was a way to it that suggested something was more than just ignorance. Actually, they did know something. At least some of them did as Captain Tim. Or if anything, like the right mining equipment once Captain Tim said was a little careful but interact. But hamburgers, the your species use them before the Yukons. That's right, because but there was a moment of conversation. Was nothing before but a bit. Not much you did respect the Clean's practice, even if she disliked a profession. You know, rightly still use them of our ships. No, I don't. Because they wanted to just come and say volume stopped her frame, and you're a little smaller than the rest of us. We have because it's not about being able to see. I know she was about to see full as an individual simply not knowing something, and she'd certainly been able to at the end of that equation for many times, but that's what is the best that they all thought that their people just wanted to be bigger. In fact, it's still fitting bigger. The rest of you do, she got through and took. We don't have to walk around our whims. We climb, we swing. She put it out from where she needed from the tables without my suit. I have to crawl on my belly to get from it to there. I could, but that's not ideal. So you said it's my ability device, like I'm a carry, look at a big that comparison, but it's like the nonsense all the same part, but I couldn't crawl around even if I wanted to because if you can't breathe through your hair, I can't leave my suit if I'm off my ship. There was no giant picking object under the microscope in a social gathering of figures. You're allergic to something commonplace, you mean? No, it's the biggest side you word for a particular task. It was the quantity simulated through most method. Toxic to you, its treatment took profit completely aback, but I thought, forgive me, but it's been a long time since I took a biological term in my best supplement. I thought it was a very production. I thought that was one of the 5 pillars. One of the 5 pillars figure us that we burst into a trick song. What if a drinking extra for breathing tube was bleeding like the child continued singing a bouncing between his mind because their mother rubbing their face with their bowl sunlight make sunlight to make life go brighter for building carbon for bonding, and that's how little dead beings grow. The basic ingredient of sapiens and species in heat. Well, I thought everybody knows that too, but don't you know the song Baker was quiet? I don't, she said, at least because it doesn't apply to me. Now as everyone else to turn to Ashbury, lose the red gloves decisively. Well, if you can't enjoy the food, perhaps we can share in some other entertainment. He's looked at the ground of the group. Does everyone here enjoy fits? I have a portable projector in motion, but be able to bring it out. Although Bradley looking relieved. Yes, what a good idea. I'll speak out to him to surprise the conversational detour, but look at it straight eye. Yes, why not? Sure, take it. Turned to Ellie and Captain Dem. Are you in? Sure, she said easily. She flashed her eye, laughing green. It's not like I've got any other place to be. Attempted repairs, day 237, GC standard 307, part 4. Referring this rave about it, that little good step up from the instant, but it wouldn't take you 4 hours to step 4 hours to make had to be done right on at all. She had a memory of picking around the kitchen, waiting for her father to perform the unenrichable by shoving the pocket her stuff from the garden that morning and cutting the garden and power shop by and adding passes around. So when her voice fenced that particular budget was an enormous amount of 5 for 10 no cups and it would not produce, but father rose it was one thing of it and nothing that paid. There he gets about a young firm next man the miles now versus. They had forgotten was what father had been a bench before she went off to school and she visited the creation for her occasionally allowed for her to make him go all that troubles his fire and she never tried traditional make but made of the father's and her but he also but lately whenever she made a cup of within could tell if the one she never tasted for the creation of precaution and although she had no patience for cutting and no interest in cooking she longed for the days of a black or joke and by minute the right and keep the energy flowing up and she knows no such not such but extremely happy to have left that clumsy messiness behind it forever but she longs for the truth to explore it and complicated that I can keep my sure for the true world and to know so that flashed by the close to the fucking up and bang and I flashed my face in the path that I made for the silliness and such as these while the pain one of the final ones that getting better to learning the basic rituals of the universe and within it the universe within and around her and she no longer needed to discover those words that would be honest even though we have no minute with them again to pay her and sit on the bucket is clear to the turn get the battle of the balls flash which could do something missile of his but in such nothing to us about sitting on a string and heading for the control room did however where she was still awake asleep receive message encryption just transit of the record system subject to urgent update this an urgent message from the emergency response team body GC transit authority message but the core system both standard linking channels are currently unavailable and will be communicating via their emergency beacon being if the script to work logged on the channel and proper communications are restored as seems completed full orbited survey for core satellite network and the debris cloud debris cloud wreckage drones have been dispatched and they are hard working removing debris as quickly as possible due to the unprecedented nature of the situation. Debris complete up sufficient enough to normal gradual dynamic will take longer than originally estimated based on the current data we hope to restore the specific life conditions with approximately 2 GC standard days is estimated based on the current most recent survey data and given the evolving nature of the situation the actual time of resolution is subject to change. We understand the sympathize with the impact and the delays by business and personal affairs. We appreciate you continuing to resolve the situation as quickly and safely as parameters allow. We are aware of the isolated attempts of such spacecraft and despite the traffic shutdown did not attempt to launch any vessel corridor and grid at this time. The current risk to sapient life and simply ship integrity of extreme. Though we share your frustration at the situation, please follow the regulations for your own safety and the safety of the traveling with the HTCA and the capital. Working together, they bring the chorus club back online and the code and open operational compensated for all results of the backup wireless supply and our release way to send some of the debris collision. The comms channels are restored the safer place to be during the situation of saying your ship or your habitat dome. Do not attempt to exude walks in unshielded environments until the all clear is given. The core surface remains the property of the GC Transit Authority and the core and operative group to itself ships notified in this scenario. We are looking to restore ground orbit comes as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you for your patience. We are all in this together. Speaker focused on the horizon, tried to keep her breathing slow. She wanted to look pace and she wanted to break something and she wanted to some of the most opposite no, but in the second was faithful and the third was not the sort of thinking look big but so if I had breathe the look the sort of come down at the shuttle window there's nothing but desert. She seemed on supply stops at the hackers and full of wildflowers in the strange carrying life of animals in their natural niche. This would be her emptiness alive without moment but of different configurations or condition but the sure amount of nothing frightened her but girls. But the bulkhead between her and the outdoors had listed showing than usual and later that up southern or trying to select the put at the distance of the comfort of sorts and bedrooms were out of bed but others that did not take much sort of buildings at all and they thought that untouched planet done over to her and that the fact did not make her angry and the fact that it did that made her angry and she looked at nothing either and she wasn't sure whether she dug her fingers into the edge of the fabric but it took consciousness to make herself let go and she glanced up at the back and noticed the motion outside. Warwick saddle was parked beside us and she could see him but he's I'm looking while she was quite sure how he looked beyond looking like himself Gwendolyn was such an under him how was he supposed to understand a face that never changed she continued to watch him with possibly she knew what it was to be this to be horrific gesture to battles and spoken words on her long as she watched the mark became clear that something was right and individual and distress was easy to identify as an April fingertips into the dense such greater than having a fabric she thought of her remember that she could have had a courage to put the bubble yellow hair she laid it both slip physically with single bullet in her face but put on her finger up with that yelling something so she didn't yell she says yelled horrific again. She waved furiously feeling awkward but last but a grab and noticed that everything about her body language noted surprise and that the language was close yes and it was the front spoke up and he scuttled over on his doesn't flex to face her and she could see his love I think but the words were lost I can't use it out before it like the but her for the listener as well as she slept so comfortable that she could have called him with a leg like to us but when she checked on it everything that before what a stupid bait so Rifle was waiting for her and the pipe up and empty lump was flexing his palm she were hiding I was wondering them about you lost I saw you at the window but it seemed to be upset unless I was ready to there I was drinking seemed to have taken back by this head and the little open and she's in the positive direction. It's her rapid percussion instrument playing. Brief recognition of the sound was turned up by a split second later. The sort of input her brain was felt more receptive to a variable avalanche of color. Bay was no stranger in the environments, but she shouting at you would have been not a signal back it otherwise, but given the detectively nutrient that of the building's exterior, unexpected to fill the hat of 5 ups, one stops permit office, traveler shop was tempted to the cost of items for sale and bus and to set up to notice pay notice that it is left the design is open as she came voluntary when such a lie that there was directly into the sun and then had been sun where they wanted to buy something. Oh, I know, I'm so sorry, really said a bad and yet reduced to the ground just back to the disc of the heart of the room. There's a basket of monocs just to your left. The pay looked different, so the basket in the which hang from the wall that fixed up the computer generating colors line. Then red, please take them if you need them, return them before you go. And that's it. There were several pairs of monochromatics, but which were all over living in. Eyes were into the well-turned cool grey, so by the discomfort pay did not pick up a bed. Monocs would look ill. The better than you are. If you were very young, very old, and fussy, but on every left arm, all the fledgling headache had made itself appearance would pass in a minute. She knew for this guy's broken by one head. Thanks, but I'm a kid. Alright, there were there. If you change your mind, at least I can control how the buildings look, but not the labels on things. I completely understand. I don't understand the great bit. More than I expected. Place no traffic from Hello. Payment did this. I got the paint special ordered from Hello and manufacturer. Everyone knows you. Further, that is not something related that was united. I didn't know that it occurred to me less properly. I know what the great letters. I don't know what's great to me and what's purely great to you are different things. I smelled appreciably of the blue because everybody didn't know that, and all the red glade on her back at the board was under letters, paper suited screaming shelves, and there was baskets of manner of fish, particular facilities, plants like for several literally raw ventilators, mysteriously. Yes, it is something for everybody. It was basically some monolith, but if I had been asked to describe that layer in broad strokes, it simply pointed with the lower extracted the 5 but layer had been from the logical humans and believe it or not, what the cheese had made contact with ginger back then. Gone further in space to look to put a path into the end practice a little friendly yellow bait, that it was always difficult to produce something to project down sapient species would react to contact with the reaction to learning that they were far from alone in the galaxy from the doors that they themselves attempt to throwing themselves in all latitude and presently aliens the palantries to my middle battle. Modern norms and lessons when they still exchange better left that there were people, but the other that had covered was that they never met anyone who was born in the room on the name draw that there were amount of skulls they were fed and all that they could transplants from us for $100 that the more good from the Irish coming from the Catholic to just big rescue and perfectly. You wouldn't have thought they were dressed if she closed her eyes and a black nose. Although I had a bit leather, I'm straight out of the same sort of purchases as champagne for the multi-species life. Someone actually looking at the building, one was laughable every minute of it. Did you make those bales? I don't lose desk heap of office supplies and being shoved aside to make way for an enormous stack of ice buns that actually was in the process of transferring one point out on her delivery box. Yes, well, I said, of course, that I and I pay for somebody who was filling such the sugar, but you made it for my neighbor's door that the dead of course the way I can't go. The new man said, you look around to see what is going on out there. It looks like some of the debris at the gnome. This piece is all over to there. Can you tell that there was nobody left? And I got the ground, so I guess maybe you didn't hit enough to bring this healer. I don't know, and it's making me nervous. Crazy, but I'm going to send some of these along with the note of the center back with a note of their own if they need help, because that's the only thing I could do. The elements of their local stress loss of fatigue and agitation. She picked up one of the buns and it almost blind for one. It looked like a therapeutic process. I can't believe this is happening. She never did anything like this. Whatever, I'm shocked the transit authority. Thanks to happened, basic kindly all the rest of it's going to do is react and we do our best with like best of his house, what a disaster. She looked like pain. She swallowed Captain and damn it, if there's anything I can do for you, let it depends the capital place. Let me know anything, love, no matter what it is, I will base it. I can refuse as much sense if it's not your fault, but still purring as she could. She understood that this is likely the worst of things that could have happened to Oliver, that everything was probably passionate proportionate to that, but for Bay it was for unexpected days of shuttle camping and hardship. Set away from the hardship, it was annoying and not distressing, but it was okay if they didn't really the one stuck under a dome that had left trolling and not yet anyway. But I dumped in the biggest time by a particular corner. I had a skull out of my them run over that I was an inch better afraid as she played a smattering of evidence, which was pathetic and defense you paid to trash paper to label. She knew something to come over. She didn't understand it and she threw her into the stand as last felt like a left of murder, but she picked up the bag. There is no fire, the label definitely on. Picked up a second bag and headed for all loose desk. Human snacks for college was expected to make further. There's no cheese in these. They've left now, I don't think so. They're not for me, they're for everyone. Thought you visiting? Well, no, they're not for him, but they're for somebody on this crew. Yes, I guess I'm visiting her as well. Intellectually, babe was a while the Welsh, but he did not live alone, but she did follow his own betting time, and that's what he didn't give it a thought of how to minutes, but I'm the rest of his crew as well. There was new territory in their relationship for certain. Sorry, there's the. She looked around with a bunch of scandal looking fiddlers. She looked semi-hidden besides the stack of scripture repairs she pushed. Hang on, I think I shall fit off the end of the her shop swept her blind. She put up the scanner and paid for the shrimp bits. Anything for yourself, as I said. I'm not trying to be pushy. Amber was to make sure I've got everything you need, because yes, I could use something. Though I'm not going to know what I'm looking for. The feelings instantly you need if she let her but and there's a little skin to let this. I'm shopping and find accommodated, whatever it is. People's trying to explain feeling visual sharp, so I'm not feeling quite right. facing, staring upward. It's so hard to configuration before we dispose the filters, but it's perfectly comfortable. Quite a mess up there, right? I'm surprised to have been disturbed years at the time. More explosions, though. That's probably a good thing, I guess. Not the right. With that permission, she's not a strong like speaker. We're trying to get a call out. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Group is like, yeah, everything got to the middle. All at once, in some kind of cloth puppet over form had been returned. Oh, come on. Looks like your mother shouldn't be. Why? Yeah, speaking sense, I'll get it from we should ask your mother, shouldn't we? Yeah, fine. See, that's fine. The child was already turning down the path. Come on. Perfect. Not completely followed. Did not immediately follow the business bacon. It opened the adjustments was planning to find her advertised, but the direct question was surely not too booze and immediately turned the corner and head of him, but he was after all unsure about all of this. The path that led behind them was selfish out there of this ballistic art, even though the nights and the ones and every was still smelling into company fuel like the drab grey buildings that compromised the rest of the vibe of this one. I do demand the vibrant yellow and the blue. Is this your home, dear boo? Yeah, but it must be nice to have all this space just for you, do I? I'd have to speak skeptically, I guess. So don't not suggest a great bit of this lip. The sip down, I looked right into the Larry who has a standard bottle, leather flashy drive it open his mouth as Duper approached the town, beginning to ask him sure that they were checking their loafers, but they do need told Duper ask her back and erase the troll before it would get rid of the events, I believe I'm said it. Got away, speakers with the suit down beside him at the courteous distance, started to let him to get a good look. What exactly are you attempting here? Refek reached into the tower and pulled out a bundle of wires. I think with a few attention we might be able to boost the signal enough to get at least a text message to remind him. Get voice over lucky, but let's see if we get it alone. I don't understand why the ship's not working at all. If it's going to signal on one side and another without all the dust and planets between, why can't I reach my ship? That's right there. Refek began to answer, but it made him do it. It seems to need some players to do it for his new run a little side night. We know that they're calling for the ground. You boys have inside the planet, but that wouldn't even work. Refek started a completely accurate technical summary from a young steward appears to have some kind of custard in the shin, but it seemed to not blast. If I think she seemed to warm to it. I didn't know you were a tech, she said, approvingly. I'm not a tech, I know some stuff. You know, like you can be a good tech. Speaker said, I don't know, she's literally shuffling, said Vader, like Refek was concentrating onto the looking, the secretary. I looked at the but he's corner of his life. You're adjusting yourself in a cockpit, taking an interest in the town, so how will you be? When you decide to be a professional roundabout? I don't know, King said, when I'm grown up, and when that be for you, I am, I guess, 26, to better with the information authorities if there's a number were queenly where an eager to reach. 26 are moves those a subtle war in it, don't you? How old are you, Speaker? Refek said when you got your shuttle license, you said first settle of you. They waved a pair of glasses in acknowledgement. Thank you. I was 3 and a half. She thought about it, but rushed straight up to Speaker's cockpit window. Her mouth was spring like manner, and then hang 3 arms, like it exclaimed. Refek did not take the face straight into the Speaker's buddy, shouted sentiment in fluid. He not stick his face straight into Speaker's buddy, ears shut these little lotus players. If forgive my ignorance, he slid 3 and 3 to the wind. But how old are you? I'm 8, Speaker said. You're 8 standards old. The child looked in at Refek with sharp pulled in, and then to Speaker, you're okay. Speaker shifted no peak. No, I reached out hold it before the end of my first standard, but my species for a break. I'm approaching middle age. We have to live about 25 hours, and so that's it. Refek intervened. Surprised by cooking. Refek intervened. He shot the child surprised by cooking at another's life for relatively imminent mortality. He felt on Gary's life depended very much as their bodies, she said, and he looked away at them, but very much as their bodies away from his co-workers to Jupiter directly, and your species lives much longer, but the rest of us lives equally lengthily. I'm sure you're aware. Remind me how long it takes a lure to leave some mother belch and start walking. I'm like 4 years. Speaking said with a laugh. Refek said, returning to his work, and how old were you now? I'm 17. Duper said, still cook. And he's remembered to Jackie, like speaking more than twice as old as you. Wait, if you can get a license, why can't I? Specs left again. Good question. I can get a license based on whatever age your species independently determines amongst the cognitive maturity needed to play ship. Refek, when do you get yours? Refek dragged a bit of cable and reached for a quick 12 C. Specs said to Duper. Surely everything that you speak might to Duper is relatively aging, but the ramifications of a 27 standard, but a 20 standard life banner with beginning to dawn on him, and I spent 20 standards at school before I was barely converted an adult. He said, and you are fully educated and well cured at 8. Well, that's the thing. Baker said, we don't have any opportunity to be broadly educated through the rest of you in a person's first year. We can't synchronize the skills. System most aptitude for it, and then there will see learn. So if the kid demonstrates enough for the wiring battles together, he'll be an engineer and he shows an interest in planets. He'll be trained for food gardening and so on. In the time in which we exist, enough to learn the subject really well. We're specialists, not generalists, but that's what our names reflect. We don't have to abstract names like you. Your identity is what you do for your community. So, for example, my mother is Greg, water maker. She manages a ship's life support systems. Every big ship has a Greg. I